The time is now 2 o'clock, and I will call this meeting of the Oklahoma City Deferred Compensation Board, May 15th, 2024, to order. First item of business we have, item 2, is to approve the minutes from the February 21st, 2024 meeting. Cast your votes.
How do you wish to vote? Yes.
And the item passes. Item number 3 is to approve the minutes from the May 8th, 2024 special meeting. And the item passes. We'll move on to 4, which is items for individual consideration. Item A is an administrative services agreement with the Oklahoma City Employee Retirement System and the City of Oklahoma City to provide administration of the 457 deferred compensation plans, the money purchase plan and trust 8751 and 7697, July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. And this is really just for the Employee Retirement System office to do the administration related to this. And we do have representatives from the retirement system here if there are any questions. Seeing none, take a motion. And cast your votes. And the item passes. Item B, under items for individual consideration, is to receive the quarterly performance report. And Jason Pools from Asset Consulting Group is here.
Mary, if you could go to page 21. So I'm not going to go through this whole report. We talked about it last quarter. You will continue to get a detailed quarter report like this of performance of the underlying funds, how much is in each fund, with actually a little bit more information, qualitative information on the underlying funds. But as we've talked about the last few meetings, whatever decision is made ultimately with the administrator, we're going to be narrowing down this list of options that is available to participants. And I think just showing this once again, we currently have 57 different equity options across 2 different administrators. Ultimately, with one administrator, we would expect to have probably 1 active option per style class, and then probably 1 passive option, at least in U.S. large cap and potentially international equity. Fixed income, we would narrow the options down as well. And then you would have a suite of target date retirement funds for the qualified default option. But again, I think this, if you even flip to the next page and you see the summary, this is currently 57 equity options, 15 fixed income options, 3 real asset options, and 12 different balance funds. That's just, it's an awful lot, and we're going to clean that up. What we will ensure is that, number 1, the fee for the share class that's available to participants is going to be the most attractive available. And secondly, the quality of the offerings are all going to be very high quality, long-term, good performance options for your participants. And then on a go-forward basis, that will continue to be reviewed every quarter, making sure there's no concerns about relative performance or changes to the team, just ongoing monitoring of the funds, and if necessary, replacing funds from time to time for participants on a go-forward basis. I'm not going to go through this, but just further information, if you on pages 24 through 20, 9, and then again in later, those are all the Mission Square funds. You'll just see, these are many of these funds are hardly used. There's just very low assets in them. We will look to some of the funds that we think are good and have significant assets in them and give them extra special focus to determine, it wouldn't be the mission squared, and I'll use one, for example, that's the largest allocation, the Contra Fund. It wouldn't be the Mission Square Contra Fund because they're just adding a fee on to the Fidelity Contra Fund fee. But we would look at that Fidelity Contra Fund to determine if, is that the best or a high quality option that potentially should remain in the lineup, and we'll give special attention to that. So unless there's any specific questions, I'm not going to go through in detail all the performance. There's just a lot there, and we're going to be cleaning this up in the months ahead.
Any questions for Jason?
I just had one, and not really about the report itself. You mentioned that we're going to limit the number of choices down the road and periodically review that. We may make changes. When we make a change, what's the normal process? Does everyone shift their stuff to that new one, or do they remain in the old one and have the choice of the new one?
Well, at this level, the board is overseeing this plan.
Right.
So the board approves the options that are available in the plan.
Okay.
And if you were to make a change, it would just be a individual one where in the coming months, we're going to be making pretty sweeping changes to everything.
Yeah.
In the future, it might be one fund where we say that the PM, the portfolio manager left, or there's issues, concerns about the firm viability. That's not going to be very frequent, but it could happen. And if that happens, you replace that with another fund, and those assets that are in it would be mapped to that vehicle. The participant at this level, they have a choice as to which funds that you've approved they invest in and allocate to. Separate from that, as we've talked about at the last few meetings, just reviewing the overall plan design. If you were to introduce a self-directed brokerage window, this wouldn't have anything to do with that.
Okay.
So.
But I think it is a good point, because I think as I've talked to individuals who've heard about these changes that we're making, the biggest comment that I get is, well, what happens to my stuff? And so it'll be one of those things we have to have that communication.
And it's going to be it's going to be mapped. If they're in a large cap growth fund, it's going to be mapped to another large cap growth fund. That is, if they're in a real estate fund, those assets would be mapped to a real estate fund. We're going to have options that cover everything that people are in. It's just more than likely going to be a different fund. But the performance and the qualitative metrics on those funds will be such that I don't think there should be many questions about it.
Any other questions? All right, we can take a motion to receive. And cast your votes. And the item passes. Item C, there's not going to be any action related to this item, but this is really just looking over the record keeper presentation score review. Gina put this together based on the scores, and really it explains exactly how the scoring went through between the three candidates for the record keeping vendor. And we do have Gina available if you have any specific questions, but we wanted to just have that before you before we move on to the next item. Any questions or comments about the record keeper scores? Well, with no questions, and there is no action related to this, we can go ahead and move to item D. And this is where we would actually make the resolution that would authorize the selection of either Nationwide, Mission Square, or Voya as record keeper for the City of Oklahoma City's 401A and 457, and authorizing the chair and/or designee and asset consulting group to negotiate a contract on behalf of the Oklahoma City Deferred Compensation Board, with the final contract to be recommended to the City Council for approval. And this will be we worked closely with legal and with the clerk's office. We'll need to do this in 2 steps because as the resolution is currently written, it has the 3 vendors. And so the first step would be we would take a motion to amend this resolution. Once that has been passed, we would then take a motion to actually narrow it down to one of these vendors. And so it will be a set of 2 votes. So the first thing that we would need is from the Horseshoe a recommendation to amend this resolution. Well,
and with that recommendation, it's who we want to fill in the blank. So we would need a motion with one of the 3 that we're selecting.
yeah.
And then that's actually the amendment, because I'm going to fill in the blank on the resolution, and then the second vote would just be to adopt the resolution as amended.
I'll make a motion to put Voya as our record keeper, or to fill that in. I don't know if that's worded
It's
good enough to
amend the resolution.
amend the resolution to award it to, or to negotiate with Voya.
So that is the motion that's on the table. And cast your votes. And the motion passes. And now that that resolution has been amended, we would now seek to entertain a motion to accept the resolution. All right, cast your votes.
Can I ask one question, just clarifying? They're going to negotiate the final contract to be recommended. Will that come back to us, or will it go straight to council, the final contract? Okay. Great. Thanks.
And the motion passes. Next, it would be comments from the board. Comments from staff. Citizens. Well, with no other comments, we are adjourned at 2:12 p.m.